People call it Jim Hawkins.
Good afternoon, Mr. Hawkins. Before you sit down, I'll ask you to raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under penalty for perjury?
I do.
Okay, you can sit in that chair right there.
Good afternoon, Mr. Hawkins.
Hello.
Could you please state your full name and spell it for the record?
James Edward Hawkins, JamesEdwardHawkins.
All right, thank you, sir. Do you work at the Munger property?
Yes, I do.
How long have you worked there? When did you start?
I started part-time in 2013 and went full-time in 2016.
Okay, and you've been full-time ever since?
Yes.
Okay. And on Monday, you go back to the farm to work?
I go back to work tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow? Yeah, okay, great. And is there one building in particular that you work in?
Yes, I work in a building that's on the west side of the house.
Okay, do you see the map right behind you?
Yeah, that one right there.
Okay. And do you see a number on it?
Number 1.
Okay. And what do you call that building?
I call that top shop.
Okay, are there two parts to that building?
Yes, there's an upper and a lower.
Okay, so you have to go down a ramp to get from one
Yes.
to the other? Okay. Are you in charge of the anhydrous tanks?
I am in charge of getting them ready to use,
Okay,
at servicing and stuff like that.
sure. Let me show you People's Exhibit 160. And ask you to look at the screen. Do you recognize those two white tanks?
Yeah, they're the mother tank and nurse tank.
Okay, and what do they have those for?
Those are the stored anhydrous.
Okay, do you have any idea how many gallons of anhydrous are in there?
The mother one, I believe, would probably be around 30,000 gallons.
Okay. And then the one to the right of the big one,
That's the nurse.
That's the nurse, okay. And if you are going to fill the anhydrous tanks that go out into the field, is this where you take them?
Yes.
And what would you do?
I'd take the tanks down there, I'd hook up the hoses to them, I'd open up the valves and fill them.
Okay. I'm showing you what's been marked as People's 96. Is this the a type of anhydrous tank that would go out in the field?
Yes.
All right, and I'm going to zoom up here. Do you see the red and yellow knobs?
Yes.
Could you tell us what those are for?
The red one is to fill the tank, and the yellow one is the vapor to expel the gases when you're filling the tank.
Okay. And where do the gases go?
It goes into the mother and nurse tank.
Okay, so it's kind of like a circle?
Yes.
Okay. And could you describe how you go about filling the tank?
You'd hook one of the hoses up to the red valve, and hook one up to the yellow valve.
Okay, right here. Is this is the red valve we're talking about?
Right, that's the fill valve.
Okay, and then right here's
The
the yellow one.
one's the vapor valve.
Okay, is there a hose that hooks up to that too?
Yes.
Okay.
And you slowly you open up your anhydrous lines that go to it, and you slowly open up the valves until you get it until they're opened, and you turn the pump on and you fill them.
Okay, so the anhydrous lines are coming from the mother and the nurse tank?
Yes.
Okay. And then where do you open up the valve? Is that attached to the mother
No,
tank?
you got your two hoses that hook to that. You got two valves, one valve on each hose,
Okay.
and then you slowly open up the two valves on the tank.
Okay. And then you turn on the pump?
Then turn on the pump.
Okay. And then how do you know when it's enough?
You're looking at the gauge when you're filling, and when they hit 85%, you stop.
Okay. And probably can't see the gauge very well, but you're saying there is a gauge on the tank?
Yes.
Okay. Do you actually see it in that photo?
I can't see it in that photo.
Yeah, me either. Okay.
Got to be between the yellow and the red valve.
Right. It would be in this
On the
in
tank
this area
itself.
right here, right?
Yeah, it'd be in between the two valves.
Yeah. Okay. So that might be it right there, but In any case, so it gets to 85%, is that what you said? Or
Yes.
Or is it 80?
85%.
Okay. And how does that get measured? Like, how does the gauge know that it's at 85?
It's got it senses the liquid coming up the tube on the bottom of the gauge.
Okay, so there's a tube that goes down from that gauge into the tank.
Yes.
All right. And does that tube have a name?
I don't know. This is
As far as you know.
part of the gauge.
Okay. All right. Is one of those called the draw valve?
Yeah, the unload valve would be the one in the front, the red valve in the front underneath the.
So are you referring to this right here?
Yes.
Okay. And what is that?
That is the unload valve. That's where you hook it up to your equipment and you open the valve, and that's what puts the anhydrous in the ground.
Okay. So you're out in the field. You've got this hooked up to the farm implement that you're towing this with, right? Is that
Yes.
yes? Okay. And that's where the anhydrous comes out and gets onto the ground.
Correct.
Okay. Now, I want to direct your attention to Exhibit 90. Oops. Yes, Exhibit 90. All right, so I want you to look at the very left edge of this picture. You see a white little stack coming off the back of the anhydrous tank?
Yes.
Okay, do you know what that is?
That is a cover going over what I call the pop-off valve.
Okay, and what is the pop-off valve
When
there
the
for?
tank gets overpressurized, it'll blow that off.
Okay, and if you're anywhere near the tank, are you going to be able to tell that that has popped off?
Yeah, you see vapor and sometimes the liquid flowing out, coming out.
Okay, and if that happens, is it dangerous?
Is it dangerous? Not really, unless you're on it. But if you smell it, then it's not too bad.
Okay, and so what would you do if that were to pop off? What would you do to fix it or to address the problem?
It all depends if the tank was empty or full.
Okay, if it's empty, what do you do?
I'd change the valve.
You
I'd
just
change the pop-off.
Okay, and if it was full?
And then I'd have to offload the tank in order to fix it.
And how do you offload the tank?
You hook up the two lines to the fill and the vapor valve, and you put it into another tank.
So you put it into just another field anhydrous
Yes.
tank?
That's empty,
Okay.
yes.
And were the tanks always full, or were they sometimes empty, or how did that work? On the farm, I mean.
Usually if I'm working on them, they're usually empty.
Okay. Now, if one of these field anhydrous tanks had a hole in it in the tank itself, would that tank be any good?
No, because it'll be leaking all the anhydrous out.
Okay, because you're trying to put pressure into it, right? Because you got that gauge. Is that correct?
Yes,
And and then the hole would be doing what?
it'd be leaking anhydrous out.
Okay. And if you had a tank like that had a hole in it, what would you do with it?
I'd put it out of service.
Okay. So you wouldn't use it anymore?
No,
You wouldn't try to fix it?
I'd try to fix it. It depends where it was leaking at.
Okay, but let's just say there's a real small hole on the actual tank itself. Do you think you could be able to fix that and get it back in service?
Yeah, one of the guys that were there could probably weld it up.
Okay. Would you be the guy that would say this is out of service and it needs to be fixed? Is that your duties?
Yeah, if it had a hole in the tank, yes.
Okay. Or what if something else was wrong with it? Would that be something that you would?
No, it all depends what was wrong. More than likely, I'd end up fixing the tank if it was a valve or gauge or the pop-off.
Okay. If something is wrong with the tank, do you put a tag on it that says it's out of service?
I haven't.
Okay, you've never done that? Okay.
I'm sorry, did he answer with a yes or no?
Oh, I thought he did.
No.
Thank you, Honor. Have you ever cut the end off one of these
No.
field anhydrous tanks?
No.
Can you think of any good reason that you would do that?
Objection, speculation.
He's the person that is over these tanks, and he knows what they do and how they work. I think you could answer whether makes sense to cut the end off of one.
I would overrule that.
Thank you. Have you ever cut the end off of
No.
a tank? Would you ever do that?
No.
Okay. When the tanks were not at the Munger property, did you have a storage place for them?
Yes.
In where?
We had a barn on Carson Road that was a rental property that we stored them in, and in a place on Paragon that
Okay.
we stored them in.
And who was the person? Were you part of the crew that got them back and forth?
Sometimes, yes.
Okay. And were you the main person, or was there other people that were working on this more than you?
On bringing them back and forth, it was usually Randy that did them.
Okay. Now, in 2020 and 2021, so you had been there on part-time since 2013, full-time since 2016. I want to ask you about 2020 and 2021. How was the anhydrous business doing at that time?
It was slow.
Okay. So was there any pressure to get tanks that might be something wrong with them back into service? Do you understand what I'm asking?
No.
Did you need extra tanks at that
No.
time? Okay. Did you have enough, plenty to go around?
Yes.
All right. I'm showing you People's 100. So I'm looking at the back end of that tank. What is at the back end of that tank, right underneath the sign where it says Farmer's Antique? Can you see that?
Yeah, that angle bracket is on top.
Right. And do you know what would be underneath of that?
That would probably be to pop off if there was something under it.
Okay. So at the front, you have this. Okay. Do you know what that is just by looking at it?
That's a guard
Okay.
in case it rolls over.
And what would be underneath that guard?
That's where your valves are.
Right. Okay. So showing you People's 101. Those the valves that you're talking about?
There'd be a red, and two reds and a yellow.
Okay. How about that one right there? This is People's 104, by the way.
I haven't seen that.
You've never seen that?
No.
Okay. Have you ever, to your knowledge, ever seen a tank that you dealt with that had that type of angle over where the pop-off valve would be?
No, usually most of them are either open or they had the round cover on them.
Okay. Did you ever paint an anhydrous tank?
No.
If the pop-off valve came off and the tank was actively leaking or venting, would there be any reason to take it indoors to work on it as it's actively leaking?
No,
Why not?
because it would be an enclosed area and the vapors would probably end up being too bad, and you'd have the anhydrous leaking on the floor too.
Okay. Now, did your duties take you into the spray barn at all?
Yes,
What would you do in the spray barn?
I'd take the JCB down there and pick up all Dale's empty cans from spraying.
Okay. Is the JCB also known as a front-end loader?
Yes,
Okay. During spraying season, how often would you go up there and get the empty bottles?
quite often.
Like more than once a week?
Once, twice a week.
Okay.
Depends how busy he was.
When you were up there in the spray barn, did you ever see the extra parts for the anhydrous tanks in the spray barn?
No.
Where were those kept?
They were kept either in an anhydrous barn or in the bottom of the top shop.
Okay. And those would be like extra valves, that kind of thing?
Extra valves, the seals, the gauges, the pop-offs, yes.
Okay. And as far as you know, having worked there, do people do welding in the spray barn?
No,
Okay. Do people do painting in the spray barn?
no,
Any supplies for either of those things in the spray barn?
no.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Nothing further.
afternoon, Mr. Hawkins. My name is Marissa Vinsky. I represent Mr. Warner. I have some questions for you. So it seems like you were one of the tank guys. Is that accurate? One of the tank guys? Like you primarily dealt with a lot of the tanks?
Yeah, I'm the one that got them ready to go for the year. I'm the one that filled them.
Where would the farm get these anhydrous ammonia tanks? So would they buy them used from people? Would they get them directly from the manufacturer, a mix of both?
I cannot answer that because I have never seen them buy one.
Okay, so you kind of just use the tanks that were on the property. Have you ever seen used tanks come onto the property?
Have I ever seen used tanks
Yes.
from other people that I filled?
Okay, so people would bring their tanks that were theirs onto the property. You would fill them. They
And
would
they
take.
would take them off.
In your role as the mechanic, you interacted with Miss Warner as well as Mr. Warner, correct?
Correct.
When you were working with Miss Warner, is it accurate to say there were good days with her and bad days with her?
That would be correct.
Miss Warner, it's fair to say, would yell at you during those bad days. She would scream and yell.
Yes.
And when you worked with Mr. Warner in your role, was he pretty easy to get along with?
Yes.
On April 24th, 2021, so that's a Saturday, you worked on the farm until about 7 p.m. Is that
Correct.
accurate? Yes?
Yes.
Sorry, I spoke over you. And you had actually spoken to Miss Warner at 6:30 p.m. that night,
Correct.
and everything seemed normal with her?
Correct.
I have no further questions.
I don't have read right now.
Okay, we do have a couple questions to review. We have two questions. My understanding that the parties agree on asking both of them. Is that accurate?
Yes, Your Honor. That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Hawkins, did you ever notice a fresh weld on tank 34?
No.
Would exposure to anhydrous cause a burn on skin?
Yes. The liquid would.
Oh, could you want to say that once more? I don't think
I said yes, but only the liquid.
Just want to follow up and show you this tank 34. Before you saw this picture, had you ever seen tank 34 before?
No.
Okay.
If you know, are there any other chemicals that would cause burns on the skin?
At the farm?
Yes.
No.
Nothing further, Your Honor. You can be released from the subpoena as far as we're concerned.
I believe he can be released as well. Thank you.
All right, thank you for your time, Mr. Hawkins. You are free to go. You're released from your subpoena, so you don't need to come back if you don't want to, or if you want to stay in the courtroom, you can do that as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, so it's my understanding that due to our witness availability issue, that was our last witness that we have for today. Is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor. That's my understanding.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, we will conclude for today. Monday we are off so that we can address some other cases that continue to go on while we're doing this. So we won't be here on Monday. We will be back on Tuesday at 9 a.m. And during the trial, do not read, listen to, or watch any news reports about this case. Under the law, the evidence you consider to decide the case must meet certain standards. For example, witnesses must swear to tell the truth, and lawyers must be able to cross-examine them. Because news reports do not have to meet those standards, they could give you incorrect or misleading information that might unfairly favor one side. So to be fair to both sides, you must follow that instruction.